tells every single alarm that it could possibly give you. It gives you a description, so what could have caused that alarm, and then what possible fixes, things to look at.
That's good.
All right, so main control, we got the green box. That means everything's normal. You can see the little modulation screen up here. It tells you what the fan speed actually is. 0 right now because it's not running, and then what the target is, so what it's shooting for and what it actually is. It's got our air damper angle, and then our gas damper angle, and then our O2 target, which won't show up obviously until it's running. So on the boiler area over here, you can see outdoor air is not hooked up because control contractor has their outdoor sensor. Kind of silly for us to have one when they're making the reset. HW is hot water. We're not doing domestic hot water, so there's no sensor hooked up. System supply is hooked up. That's the sensor we were talking about up there. That's reading 136 right now. System return is blank because we don't have a system return sensor. Inlet water temperature, our delta T across the heat exchanger, our outlet water, our flue temperature, flame signal 1, flame signal 2, because we have 2 flame sensors in there. Our premix temperature, that's the temperature of the air in the unit right now, and then our O2. So right here underneath set point, it says BMS mode, BMS controlled set point. That means the building management system is controlling the set point of the boiler. If you wanted to, let's say something happened, the BMS panel went down for whatever reason, you could change that to local set point and just give it a whatever local set point you want, 140, and it would just do, maintain 140 on that sensor if needed. So, if something of that nature ever happened, which we all know is probably extremely unlikely, there is a way to manually power it up.
Not here, it's quite common. Controller just took a shit. Ah, man. Gotta go around and put everything local.
You have the ability to locally control if you ever needed to. So in the top left corner here, you've got a home button. That's our home screen. That's the top circle. That's what we're at right now. Got a button. There's 3 circles: home, view, and then installer. So if we go to the view, if we press the view button, it opens up a different menu. Now this is a touch screen with a slider.
Nice.
So status shows us where we're at. Standby, if it was running, it would say run. If it was in pre-purge, it would say pre-purge. So it kind of tells you what it's doing right now. History, it's one of my favorite screens. If you just tap in the history will show you every alarm you've ever had. Well, the last 20 alarms you've had, but it'll show you what alarm and it'll give you a date and time stamp. So you know exactly what happened. If you come in the morning and this is locked out, you can see exactly when it happened. And again, we tell you what the alarm is. Outlet water sensor. These were from startup. Also here, this is a good screen. It also tells you your runtime. So how many hours you've got of runtime more than 50% firing rate, and then how much runtime less than 50% firing rate. Right now you've got 388 hours of runtime. 387 hours are less than 50% firing rate. So that tells you that you've got more than enough boiler, and the demand, it's not running all the way at 100%. You're staying caught up. Next, down below that is power hours, how many hours this boiler's had power to it. Running hours, 388. Ignition attempts, and then successful ignitions. So you have right now 36 ignition attempts and 36 successful ignitions. You haven't had a failure yet. That's good. Total running hours, total ignition attempts, total successful ignition attempts. Now there's a reset button here. Each year, if you wanted to, you could reset that counter. Now it's not going to reset the total number. The total is there and there's no way you can change it.
Okay.
The only way that changes is by replacing the boards. That's it. What would change is the power hours would go to 0, the running hours would go to 0, and then the ignition attempts would drop out. So basically you could see what kind of time you're putting on it, and it would reset the runtime percentage so you can start fresh each season. So just a way to see where the boiler's running or how hard it's running. So if we go back to that, hit the view button again, we go back to that home screen. We've got a modulation screen where you can see if the boiler was running, you would see the firing rate. I don't have good fingers for this. There we go. It shows you the fan speed actual and the target. Just like on this is on your main home screen, what we were looking at. Shows you the modulation, fan speeds, air damper, delta T, inlet temperature, outlet temperature. Also shows you the set point right there. So whatever he's sending, it's going to show you on that set point. If we go back to the home, you've got your boiler screen, which is on our main screen. You've got your O2 sensor there showing you where she's running, if she's lean, rich, or right in the green, which is where we want it. You've got a graph here. You can graph, like if you had, let's say you had an alarm, high limit alarm. You could graph what exactly happened in the previous 30 minutes before that alarm happened. Our runtime clock is here. If you were going to do night setback, that's there. That's disabled. No reason to do it when you're on BMS. And then the third button down is your installer menu. When you press that button, it's going to ask you for a password. The password of every lochinvar smart system boiler is 5309, just like the song 867-5309. That's how you would get into this. You could go into like set point menu. Everything here was I programmed at startup, so been operating fine now. But if you guys fine tune your stuff, here's how you do it. Set points in BMS. That's where we adjust their range. And let's see, you could go to pump menu, go to outdoor. Well, we're not going to use outdoor reset, so forget that. Service maintenance screen. My bad fingers is the wrong one. Service maintenance screen would be what you use if you're going to do combustion each year. I don't know if you guys do combustion on your units or you have outside contractor do it, but service mode is a manual way to make the boiler fire. We would press start, boiler would start running, it'd start moving the pump, and then we could select full fire 100% or minimum fire, and then we could move the dial and go anywhere we want, every specific firing rate, if we wanted to adjust it. So they're kicking on and off a few times, huh?
Yeah, he's working on an issue.
Gotcha. So that's really the control in a nutshell. We'll wait till it comes back up. But, we've had the Crest boiler for about, I believe it's about 13 years now. The Hellcat combustion system has been released for about 2 years now. We've had excellent success with them. They run really well. It's been great for us. Me especially, service guy, and it's doing startups. Like I was telling you before, we'll have jobs that they run 365 days a year, and you could, they could be tuned, did a startup in the winter and tuned for the winter, and then you get that call that you got noise in the summertime when it's 95 degrees.
Yep.
But you don't really want to mess with it because then you know that it's not going to be right when it's 10 degrees outside.
Back when it gets cold.
Yeah, this combustion system takes all of that out of it. It's running at the same O2 all the time.
You need a cool Hellcat logo like around the Challenger.
Yeah.
That'd be badass.
We told them that. So back to our main screen again. Now, what I was telling you guys before was not shutting the switch off. So when it's not in use, he's not enabling the boiler. So there is no reason to shut this unit off. It will not run unless it goes into freeze protection. Nothing wrong with it sitting here ready to go. I would not recommend shutting them off.
Only if you're working on the electrics or something like that. Shut it off. Other than that.
Yeah, maybe that's why they shut it off, because they knew they were going to be
sending surges.
The power like crazy.
You give them too much credit.
Yeah. Is there is there protection from surges?
Not built into the boiler. That's what I was asking. I would assume there is on the electric side.
You know what happens when
I would assume.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions on any of it? What's that?
How long is the warranty on it?
1 year parts and labor, typical
try
commercial. Heat exchanger
That's a good
warranty's
question.
10 years.
10 years?
Yeah,
Heat exchange is 10.
yeah, yeah. I think the water quality guy was here the day that I started this up, if I'm not mistaken. You guys do. This is the same water that's in your campus loop, right?
Yes.
And that water is maintained quality wise.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you have I would say look at the manual, and as long as it's a stainless steel heat exchanger. I don't know what the rest of the loop is, but make sure that
Mostly.
our water quality numbers.
Yeah,
jive with
mostly
what
good
you're
equipment.
doing.
Good equipment here.
Yeah.
A lot of good equipment.
Stainless steel.
Yeah.
It
A lot
is
of
stainless
yeah.
steel. All right. So if your main equipment is stainless steel heat exchangers, you're probably treating for the same range that we would want anyway. So, yeah, just something to look at.
Yep, that
So-
water quality is maintained by an outside contractor, so it should be good.
Gotcha. Yeah, water quality is probably one of the biggest problems we see nowadays